Hello, this is David. So what I want to do is I want to take a second. I want to talk to you about media sizes. All right, there's a tremendous misconception as to what these white toner printers can do, and I'd really like to try and solve that at this point. Make sure that people clearly understand what I'm talking about. You know, everybody refers to these printers as 8.5 by 14 or legal, you know, that type of thing. And that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. People think about them in terms of I can print 8.5 by 11 size. That's not the case. So these printers have a print length capability of 52 inches. So that's from where you can't see to where you can't see, and then some, because, you know, my length is all right. So, you know, the printers can print extremely long lengths. There are the media sizes that are available with the laser dark is the 8.5 by 11, the 8.5 by 17, the 11 by 17, and the 12.5 by 19. So these are the paper sizes that are available. So what does that mean? That means that you can print a 17-inch length. So this is a 17-inch sheet. 17, not 14, not 11, 17 inches long. Get that? 17 inches long. It's important to know that 17 inches is a lot of space. When I put two of these together, I'm now looking at a size 8.5 and 8.5 is 17. 17 by 17 size. 17 by 17 with two of these together. So again, this is really the key to being able to do supersized designs on a little bitty tiny printer, the 8.5 by 17 sheet size. So that's what we're going to be using in the next few prints. 8.5 by what? Say it again. 17. You got it. Thank you. So here's a cars file. We're at 14 inches wide and we're 16.9 inches tall. If I look at this in a rotated view, then you know, I could get this, you know, I could split this here, but I don't have, you know, I'm right at the maximum level, and there's not really a good place along here that I really like that I could see cutting it that would, you know, that wouldn't fit. I mean, we're fitting into an eyeball. These are things that are going to draw the eye. So we want to try and do our cuts in areas that are not going to be drawn to by the eye, so that our customer is, you know, is not going to just see it at their first view. So we go back here, and so now, you know, I've got more room to work with, and I can kind of open this up, and I can see that there are some, you know, some natural lines running through the design in this area. So if I give the application room to utilize these natural breaks in the design, then that's what it's going to try and work with for us. So here we've got plenty of room for printing. We can put this on the 8.5 by 17 sheet sizes. So let's try it. Okay, so we've split this. And just like we said, it's cut right through those areas in our image. This should go together beautifully. And our sizes are 8 1/3, just under 8. So these will all fit on our letter XL 8.5 by 17 sheet size with no troubles. Okay, So now, in keeping with our sheet size, again, letter XL, letter XL. We're not talking legal, letter XL. 8.5 by 17 is our sheet size. And so as you can see, these are printed 8.5 by 17 size. All right, so, and if we want to check this, we can set our background color. If I was going to put this onto a dark shirt, then this would let me see what's happening with that. And then again, we want to preserve our partial transparency. So we want to save the transparency on this. Underfilling, again, we want to pull back that white around the edges of things so that we don't have any of that white sticking out around the edge. And for this one, again, we want to use the screening as a mask for dark media. And we can do this, again, I love using the line function, but for this example, let's just go with the dot function, just so you can see sort of the difference and how these come into play. I still recommend 27. It's a great number for that. Now, when using the dot function, we want to do the angle at 52.5. The 120 shadow tolerance is still a good value for us. And we're working transparency to the multi-purpose tray. We're printing 8.5 by 17 size. So here is our 17-inch sheet size, which is the size the printer is asking for. Again, 17 inches long, which is pretty much longer than will even stick out the end, and we will press the online button to print the 8.5 by 17 size, 17 inches. So here's the first half of our print. On the dark background, looks good. We want to preserve our transparency. We want to pull out the white from around the edges. We want to use exactly the same parameters again. So here are our two pieces. I wouldn't worry about this. I'm going to trim this. You can cut this off. So. All right, so remember, the design that we're doing, we have to press these separately simply because this design is larger than my heat press. This design is larger than any of the current white toner printers are even capable of printing. So when people say these printers can't do super size, you can do super size with the little guy. So again, we trim these edges. And now we're ready to start building this guy up onto our shirt. So for building extra large shirts, we're definitely capable of doing that. In this case, the design is so big that we're literally going to have to work sideways on the heat press to construct this. So we center our shirt. We can take our two pieces just to get a concept of how we want to line this guy up on the shirt. Actually, in this one, it's got a few wrinkles in it. I'm going to press a couple of these wrinkles out. So I get a nice flat surface to work with. And then again, to square it away. All right. So I want to cover the first one. And I'm pressing it with a light to medium pressure for about 15 seconds. Light to medium pressure, about 15 seconds to stick it to the shirt. And then a cold peel. We want it nice and flat. We use our cooling plate to really pull the heat out of it. Make it nice and cold. And then again, with a nice tight roll, we want to roll the design away from the shirt. All right. So there's the top half of the design. Stick it back into the heat press. We put on our best pair of glasses and we line it up. Sometimes, you might need to stretch the shirt just a little bit to make sure it's lined up correctly. We take our piece of parchment and we put it up to the edge. Careful, if you bump it, you want to make sure you put it back into place. then cover it with a big piece of parchment and press it again. Light to medium pressure. Another 15 seconds or so. To get it into place. And then another cold peel. Again, with a tight roll. We're separating the design. Again, you've got the glossy side, the matte side. So this goes back into our heat press. Cover it with a large piece of parchment so you've completely covered the design. A little bit of a wrinkle to it. Nice clean piece of parchment. High pressure for the full 30 seconds. All right. So tell me where the seam is in that. There's just no way of seeing it. I mean, even knowing it's there, there's no way to see it. We put it on this little board and try and put it up real straight so you got a chance to really see it close up. And see if you can figure out, or if you can tell, or let me try it on this overhead one.